with Five Nights at Freddy's 2 confirming its release date, setting it for December 5th of 2025. The film was officially announced in April 2024, several months after the release of the 2023 horror film Five Nights at Freddy's. The first movie came out on October 27th of 2023, so there would have been just over 2 years between the films. After the success of Five Nights at Freddy's doing really well in the box office, even though it had a low score of 32% on Rotten Tomatoes, Five Nights at Freddy's did have a huge, massive box office return with over $291.4 million worldwide, which represented grand returns on its estimated $20 million budget. An additional impressive fact about its theatrical run was that the film was released on Peacock, managed to draw big crowds despite being available on streaming. So now that we know that Five Nights at Freddy's 2 will be making its debut in theaters on December 5th of 2025, what exactly will it be about? And the question that's on everybody's mind, will Five Nights at Freddy's 2 be a sequel or a prequel to the first film? Well, guys, in this episode, I will be answering those questions and telling you exactly everything we know so far about Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your favorite host, Flacco the Great. And as you guys can probably tell, my camera isn't on. Well, unfortunately, I've been having some difficulties with the face camera, so instead you guys are gonna have to look this very handsome photo that I just put on here. I know what you're thinking. Man, you look pretty good. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Anyways, today, guys, we are going to be going over something that I've been really excited to talk about for a while. I just been waiting for a lot more information from Blumhouse Studios about the next upcoming FNaF movie, which is obviously Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Now, it has been announced that it will hit theaters on December 5th of 2025. Talk about a really great Christmas present right there. I, for one, would definitely love this as a Christmas present. It's interesting, though, because I will be in college during at the time. Maybe I'll be able to watch it with some friends or by myself. I don't really know. I will figure that out eventually. But that doesn't really matter, does it? So yes, from Blumhouse Studios, it has been announced that Five Nights at Freddy's 2 will be coming into theaters. While yes, the score for the Rotten Tomatoes for the first FNaF movie didn't exactly do well, with only 32% Rotten Tomatoes, box office says otherwise, which reached over to the $2 million point in box office. So even though the budget was only about $20 million, and for all movie producers out there, like $20 million to make a movie is not exactly a lot. But now that we know that the first FNaF movie was a success, I can guarantee that this movie will probably have a lot more in the budget for them to do a lot more with what they can. But what exactly is FNaF 2 going to be about? And what characters are we going to have in the movie? And this is something that a lot of people have been rumoring about. Is Five Nights at Freddy's 2 going to be a sequel or a prequel? Now, I'm going to remove this background real quick. People may ask, what's a prequel? For the people who don't know what that is, a prequel is something that was due before this event happened. For instance, Five Nights at Freddy's, right? A lot of people were rumoring that Five Nights at Freddy's 2 was actually going to be a prequel, a movie that was set before these events happened. Now, the reason why this was rumored is because of the popular Five Nights at Freddy's 2 horror game that came out in 2014, which became probably one of the most successful FNaF horror games that was made. It was actually set to be a prequel. Now, a lot of people say that, oh, no, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is not a prequel game, but a sequel game. The way that it is portrayed, the way that the story goes, I too believe that it's actually more of a prequel than it was of a sequel. So therefore, that's why it was rumored to people that Five Nights at Freddy's 2 would actually be not a sequel, but a prequel. However, after it was announced that it was going to come into theaters on December 5th of 2025, this is what it says in the description from Variety.com about what we are going to feature for Five Nights at Freddy's 2. So it says here that Freddy Fazbear will return to haunt multiplexes in 2025. Universal and Blumhouse Five Nights at Freddy's 2, a horror sequel set in the haunted Chuck E. Cheese escape establishment known as Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, will land in theaters on December 5th, 2025. Now, as you guys probably heard, I said horror sequel, which means the director, Evan Tamey, just announced that Five Nights at Freddy's 2 will not be a prequel, but a sequel to Five Nights at Freddy's. So, therefore, if this is going to be a sequel, um, for me, it's kind of, I don't know, like, how they're going to do it. I mean, like I said, FNaF 2 was a prequel. The game was, at least, but it was said that Five Nights at Freddy's 2 was going to be a sequel instead. I guess now we're going to be continuing the journey of, well, possibly, we really do not really know, but continuing the journey of Mike, his little sister Abby. Wait, Abby, right? I thought it is Abby, right? I'm trying to make sure. Yeah, it is Abby. Ha! I'm so smart. So, like I said, it may be the journey continuing with Mike and his little sister Abby. Of course, they're probably a little bit older now. Now that we know that the movie will not hit into theaters until next year. So that means we have to wait for one more year for the FNaF 2 movie to come out. But that's okay. We may also find out what exactly happened. Happened to Vanessa, the daughter of William Afton. And speaking of William Afton, there was a post recently of Matthew Leonard, who you probably all know him as the Scooby-Doo actor, actually dressed in his Springtrap bodysuit. Now, I don't have the picture with me at the moment, but let me see if I can find it real quick while I keep talking about it. But in the picture, he is with like this, I don't know if it's like an animatronic Scooby-Doo, but I just found it kind of funny, because Matthew Leonard, he plays as Scooby-Doo in the live action Scooby-Doo movies. And it's just, I still find it kind of interesting that sorry, I'm trying to type this. That he will be in FNaF, right? A lot of people rumored that it was going to be not William, William Dafoe, and I'm a big fan of what William Dafoe has done, especially as like the Green Goblin, and he was rumored to be Joker at a time, but obviously we know that never happened. But I don't know. I just find it really interesting. Okay, I did find the picture that I was trying to tell you guys about. Let me just add an extra slide really quick. It's actually a really funny poster, and it's so cool though. But it is also a teaser of, yes, Matthew Leonard will be reprising his role as William Afton / Springtrap Bonnie. So let me just add the slide real quick while I keep trying to talk to you guys. What other characters will be returning? Like I said, we'll be having Elizabeth Leo to play as Vanessa Shelley again. As we know, where we left her off in the first FNaF movie, she was in the hospital after the final battle between William Afton. William Afton stabbed her with his knife, and I do believe she's going to survive. Obviously, she was able to make it, but that's where we kind of left her off at the moment, is in the hospital. Now it depends on like how long later after the events are going to be in FNaF 2. Either she'll still be hospitalized, or she would probably be as good as new, but probably maybe a little traumatized after the current events that happened. Or there might be a good chance that something has changed. Why do I say that? Well, I will let you guys know, but here's the photo. So sorry that took so bit, but there he is. There is Matthew Leonard in his really cool, iconic Springtrap bodysuit. As you can tell, is a little bit messed up and kind of a little bit destroyed after the first events happened in Five Nights at Freddy's 1 during the Springtrap accident. that happened to him. And for all you know who played the FNaF games, that it was like a very iconic, very famous scene that happened. And then, of course, you can see Scooby Doo, which is, I do believe that's kind of like the same Scooby Doo dog form in like the live action Scooby Doo movies. But yes, there he is, guys. But it is also rumored that yes, Matthew Lillard will be reprising his role, which means we will have this man as one of the main villains in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Now, I say one of the main villains is because of the rumor that in my personal opinion, think is correct. And we're going to talk about that in just a sec. But I also kind of just want to tell you guys, for all of y'all who have never seen the first FNaF movie, which if you have not yet, you can actually watch Five Nights at Freddy's 1 on Prime Video. I do believe it's still on Peacock. I think it's Prime, though. Like, you can actually watch it for free on Prime Video. I've been able to do that, and I don't watch it all the time, but like I just kind of watch it so I can like catch up and be like, okay, so these are the events that happens. That way I can remember when I watch Five Nights at Freddy's 2 when it comes out in theaters on December 5th of 2025. But for people who have never watched the movie, let me at least tell you guys what it's kind of about. If you guys don't like spoilers, though, if you want to watch the movie instead of just listening to me blabble about what FNaF 1 was about, then I recommend that you do not listen to this part of the episode and just skip to the part where I talk about Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Anyway, so let's do a quick recap about Five Nights at Freddy number 1. So in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, the main character is obviously Mike and his little sister, Abby. Now, these two are just living together. The parents are not home. I don't kind of know the backstory of like why his parents left them. Either maybe they died or they just left them, or we really don't know. But Abby is in custody of Mike. In the story, Mike's aunt is trying to take Abby away from him, and he doesn't really want to do that, even though their relationship is not exactly as close yet later in the movie. Also, Mike got fired from his job after assaulting a man, believing that the man was trying to capture like a little child, but it was actually the child's dad who was just trying to find him. But like after the events that happened in FNaF 1, he was it's like his I don't know if I say this correctly, like his PTSD, right? Or like he was just so traumatized about what happened to him as a kid. You don't really know who you could trust anymore. And when like those events happen, you probably one event for those of you who've never seen the movie. Mike's little brother. What was Mike's little brother? Garrett. Garrett, that's his name. Sorry. Mike's little brother Garrett was captured at a very young age by a mysterious man who we do believe to be William Afton and was never seen again. And as a little child, when you witness something like that, it sticks with you for the rest of his life. And that's what's kind of going on with Mike at the moment in the first movie. He's still living in the past. He was having dreams about this. He's taking like these sleeping pills to do. It helps him to sleep, right? And then Mike does get offered a job by Matthew Linder, who plays this William Afton. I don't remember the fake name that he used, to be quite honest. My apologies. But he offers him a security job at one of the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Complex restaurants. During this time, the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Complex was not as popular anymore. I do believe it's because it has to do with the events after what happened with the bite of 87, which we all know was when a child got his head bitten off by an animatronic. After that tragic event, people started to sue, and they wanted Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place to be shut down. So this is probably the event after the bite of 87. And so Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Complex is not as popular anymore after those events. But anyways, Mike finally decides to take a job and becomes the security guard. Now, for those of you who played the FNaF horror games from 2014, you would know that in the game, you are a security guard who just, always got to check the cameras, make sure that you reserve power, and sometimes the animatronics will have to roam, and if they do, make sure you shut the doors, but if you leave the doors too closed for too long, it will make the power go down faster. Therefore, when the power goes out, Freddy Fazbear comes and kills you, or if you do not close the doors in time, you will be killed by one of the animatronics, right? So that's what's kind of going on with Mike, right? He's just trying to take the job. He just needs money, so that way, doesn't have to be completely useless. Everything goes fine, at first, and then like weird things begin to happen. Like in his dreams, he's seeing 5 children, right? And these 5 children, he has no idea what they are, but we already know what they are. They are the souls of the animatronics in Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Complex. And of course, this also where we get to meet Vanessa. Now, a lot of people were surprised in the first place in the FNaF movie so soon. Now, as we all know, Vanessa is kind of like one of the antagonist security guards in Five Nights at Freddy's. So it was really interesting to see her as more of the hero in the story than she is as the villain. A lot of people were a little bit surprised, and a little bit surprised too that we find out that Vanessa was the child of Willie Matton, but that comes out later in the movie. But Vanessa wants Mike to actually quit this job, but of course, Mike, he decides not to, and decides to stick working at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place. Now, the reason why Vanessa wanted him to leave because she already knew who her father was and who these animatronics really were. Of course, she doesn't share that detail with Mike until later in the movie after they find out what really happened. So let's fast forward a little bit. Strange things are happening. The animatronics are coming to life, and basically they're trying to kill Mike. Mike's just trying to survive, and he doesn't really understand, but he can't really quit his job until the fifth night. Now, we all know in the fifth night, that's where all the crazy things happen. But as we can see, he decides to take Anne his little sister, and then when Anne leaves the room, like he told her not to, she runs into the animatronics and they come to life. But they do not harm her. In fact, they actually wanted to be friends with her. Now, a lot of people were a little bit upset with this part of the storytelling, as like the FNaF characters or the FNaF animatronics were more childish and a little too kind than they were in the games. As we all know, that never really happened in the games whatsoever. Of course, we all know that FNaF characters were just pretending to be your friends, so that way they could lure into this room where there was this Springtrap suit. We do believe to be a baby doll. I don't remember if I said her name correctly, but they were trying to make Anne into one of them, one of the animatronics. We do believe this was William Afton's doing. But, I just felt like it was kind of like a little messy in the story. I didn't really like how that played out. But, I'm not the director, and Emma, the director of FNaF and Blumhouse Studios. It was her story writing, so there's no changing that. And then we get to find the backstory about these 5 children. The 5 children actually know what happened to Mike's little brother, Garrett. And Mike is trying to make a deal with them to tell them, for them to tell him what happened to Garrett. And of course, we know that Garrett was murdered by William Afton. William Afton says so himself when he returns into the pizza complex, but in his Springtrap bunny suit. Now, I do want to let you guys know, if you guys do see the 5 children, you will see one with blonde hair and the 4 in the background. A lot of people made a misconception about that. The blonde-headed boy was actually Freddy, the leader, but actually no. Because later in the movie, we see that Golden Freddy arrives in Anne's house. Now, that is something I never really seen before, is an animatronic leaving the pizza complex and actually heading into a different location, let alone Mike's house, where little Anne was being watched by her aunt. Now, we do believe that the Golden Freddy killed the aunt. I mean, she was kind of a brat. She kind of had it coming in the first place. But so Anne, she thinks the animatronics are her friend, right? And the the boy with the golden hair, who is Golden Freddy, which was yet another surprise to even see Golden Freddy appear in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie #1. But hey, it was kind of cool to see the Golden Freddy in live action. But we also got a little Corey X Kenshin in there driving the taxi with Golden Freddy and now for all of you who have no idea who Corey X Kenshin is, he's a famous YouTuber. He plays horror games, reacts to horror stuff known as Spooky Scary Sunday. He hasn't uploaded in almost a whole year, and to be honest, I don't know if he'll ever come back. But you should guys check him out. His name is Corey X Kenshin. Funny dude, great guy, love his videos. Anyways, yes, he was actually in the FNaF movie as the taxi driver. It was so awesome to see him be able to play a role in the FNaF movie. So, anyways, come to find out, blah, 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 blah. We found out these children were murdered by William Afton. Their bodies were stuffed inside the animatronics, and their souls were never at rest. And so they took the form of the animatronics as they were. Hence, Freddy, Foxy, Chica, and Bonnie. Oh yeah, we also get little jump scares from the Balloon Boy, which was actually kind of interesting since the Blue Boy was first announced. His first debut was in FNaF 2, the game. So it was kind of interesting to see the Balloon Boy appear in the first FNaF movie. But I guess they were just doing that, for little funny jump scares. But yeah, come to find out, we find out who William Afton is and that he murdered these 5 children and stuffed into these animatronics. And in the end, they were able to stop William Afton. Hence the Springtrap accident, which tried to miss out of the suit, killing him slowly. But as we all know from the games, and from his famous quote, I always come back. And now that we know that Matthew Litter will be playing this role again as Springtrap Bonnie, yes, it is true. He has come back. So, if you guys made it this far, now we can finally discuss what exactly will FNAF 2 be about and what do we know so far. So let's take a 10-second break and then we'll get back into this episode. All right. I hope you all enjoyed that 10-second break, able to do whatever you were trying to do. Now let's get back into the main event of this episode, today's podcast. If you guys are enjoying this, please just let me know in the comments, or just be very. Hopefully, you guys are being very supportive of this podcast. Which, by the way, guys, thank you all so much for being this support. I know I'm saying supported a lot, but truly, I mean it. This podcast has done so well. A lot of people are finding are able to listen to it from around the world. So thank you guys so much. Anyways, let's get back to the events. Five Nights at Freddy's 2. What exactly are we hoping to see from this movie? What would it be about? And what do we expect? While yes, we have not yet had a teaser trailer or an official trailer from Blumhouse Studios or Universal Pictures about Five Nights at Freddy's 2, we already figured out that we may be getting away from the older models of the animatronics and heading into the toy versions of the animatronics. As you can see in the picture, we have Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, and her Toy Cupcake, and then we have Mingle. Mingle is a female animatronic Foxy looking kind of character, and so yeah, we basically have that going on here. So if we're getting a FNAF 2, obviously we're probably going to be featuring the toy animatronics instead of the original animatronics. However, for people who have played the game, FNAF 2, we may be having the older models return, hence like Withered Chica, Withered Bonnie, Withered Freddy, and Withered Foxy. Of course, there's a good chance it will be featuring the Balloon Boy a lot more, since the Balloon Boy was kind of one of the main antagonists in FNAF 2. He doesn't kill you, but he will shut down the power in your flashlight in your room, and give you the chance for the animatronics to kill you. To be honest, though, it was really annoying. I don't like him whatsoever. I feel like a lot of people just hate um the Balloon Boy. He's super annoying, but I think that's kind of like the whole point. It's just make you just rage. Is it just me, or do it? I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like the whole point now. It's just to make us rage. It's really annoying, but if we are getting the the Balloon Boy again, there's a good chance that he might be featured a lot more due to the way the story is being told. However, guys, I do want to give you guys some of my theories about what exactly FNAF 2 will be about. Which is, I guess you could say this was kind of a theory, but I do believe that we'll be having the toy animatronics return, because in Blumhouse Studios, they actually did release a post showing Mingle and Toy Bonnie. So that kind of does give us the an idea that, yes, we will be having the toy animatronics in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Now, does that mean that we're no longer going to see the older models? Well, I already kind of said we will have characters like Wither Bonnie, Wither Chica, Wither Foxy, and Wither Freddy. I don't know if they're going to be the same old animatronics from the first movie, but we're going to have to just wait and see the way how it plays out and what the rumors will be from Blumhouse Studios about these characters. But anywho, guys, I wanted to go over some of my rumors or theories about what exactly we are going to see in the movie. Let me know your guys' theories about what you may know about the movie Five Nights at Freddy's 2. What do you think you're going to expect? And just let me know, to be honest, because I like hearing what you guys people think, since, FNAF is a really big indies horror game. But anyways, my third theory I wanted to talk about actually has to do with Garrett, Mike's little brother. Now, the thing about Garrett is that now that we know that Willie Maffick did capture Garrett and kill him, we never actually saw him as an animatronic in the first movie. At first, people rumored that Mike was actually Balloon Boy, but I don't really think that's true. It's because the Balloon Boy, it just doesn't really make sense. Like, why would Garrett be the Balloon Boy? I mean, the rumor, it kind of makes sense, but I feel like that Garrett might be someone a lot more popular and possibly more dangerous. Now, for all my FNaF fans out there, you probably know this rumor, and it's possible that it could be quite true. And that is, I believe Garrett is going to return in FNaF 2 as the puppet. Now, we all know who the puppet is. The puppet made his first appearance in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 2014 horror game. And the puppet is, in my personal opinion, a powerful kind of animatronic. So here's the role of the puppet. Your job in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the horror game, is to make sure that the puppet does not escape from his music box. You have to go to the exact camera where the music box is. You got to make sure you wind it up to make sure the puppet doesn't escape. And if you fail to do that and the puppet escapes, you will actually hear the music box playing. And then, of course, the puppet will jump scare you and you die. So there's no really escape. There's no escape when it comes to letting the puppet release. I learned that the hard way in where I made my gaming video about playing Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And yes, I will do a part 2. I just need to buy another gaming drive. If you guys have not seen that video yet, make sure you go to Flacco with Friends and find my FNAF gaming videos that I do. Anyways, let's focus. So why do I say that Garrett is going to return as the puppet? Like, why do I say that? Well, let's think about it. Like I said, Garrett has not yet returned as an animatronic. And I believe in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, we will be actually able to find out what really happened to Garrett. I mean, don't you guys want to know? Like, where is Garrett? Since William Afton kills Surgeon and puts him in the animatronics, I think it's time to find out where Garrett is. And I feel like that kind of leads to the story of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Like, why in the world would Mike and Abby want to return to the pizza complex? Well, suppose they find, I'm not really sure how, to be quite honest, but suppose they find a rumor that Garrett could still be alive. Obviously, now that Mike knows that Garrett is dead, it was killed by William Afton, what if he wants to find Garrett, but in his animatronic form? Like, what if he still has that attachment that he just can't let go or move on? He wants to know where Garrett is. And suppose it leads to having to return to the pizza complex, right? So, if that's true, then I believe that they will find Garrett. But Garrett will be the puppet. Talk about a mind-boggling kind of idea, which also kind of leads to William Afton's story about what happened with Garrett. Yes, we all know that William Afton will be returning probably as the main antagonist of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, but I feel like the puppet may be also one of the main antagonists for Five Nights at Freddy's 2. While yes, people say that the puppet's gender is actually a female in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, it is said that it was a boy soul that actually took over the puppet's body. So I guess that would kind of make sense when it comes to when we see the puppet. Now, how do we know the puppet will actually be in Five Nights at Freddy's 2? Actually, for all of y'all who waited until the end credits of FNAF 1, you can actually hear the puppet's theme song being played in the end, which is kind of a teaser and yet another rumor that the puppet will be making its debut in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and possibly might be one of the main antagonists for Five Nights at Freddy's 2 as long as William Afton. Now, if it's true that Garrett is actually inside the puppet, that's going to get really emotional, especially for Mike. Like, maybe the puppet may be being a puppet for William Afton, right? Like, maybe William Afton is either controlling the puppet or the puppet, maybe just doesn't remember as much. And like the puppet is just another raging monster animatronic trying to kill them. We really don't know. We don't really know how it's going to play out, but I, for one, do believe that Garrett is going to be the puppet and that the puppet will be kind of one of the main antagonists for Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And once Mike and Abby find out, it's just going to be like, wow. Dude, that's going to be crazy. I don't know. I just feel like that's my rumor there. I just feel like that it's quite possible that Garrett could be the puppet. Let me know if you guys think Garrett's a puppet. Now, if Garrett turns out to be the Blue Boy, well, okay then. Nothing more you can do about it, really. So, anyways, let's keep... so my story, since we really don't have like a story and idea about what FNAF 2 is going to be about, I kind of do believe like maybe, something has to draw Mike and Abby back into the studio. Or not the studio, the pizza complex. And why not know? And like, I messed up, sorry, but like, I mean, would you not want to go back and find out what happened to your little brother? And what if there's a good chance that you could find him? Like, what that would draw me back into the pizza complex, and for sure, I'm sure it would probably draw Mike and Abby back into the studio. Now, here's something else that I feel like it's a big jump, but it's just because the way that this character was made for the FNAF games, it's quite possible that Vanessa could actually be one of the bad guys in this one. Now, I say that is because of the way her role is played in Five Nights at Freddy's. Suppose now that maybe Vanessa is no longer hospitalized, maybe they just haven't seen her in a long time. Like maybe she's just still trying to like wrap her head around things. Come to find out, maybe she is helping William Afton again. Now that's I know it's like a big jump. Like why in the world would she help William Afton again? Like I said, these are just rumors. I can't really say for sure why, but I just feel like, since Vanessa is kind of a villain in the FNAF games, why not make Vanessa a villain in Five Nights at Freddy's 2? Now, why? I don't really know why it would draw her back to be a villain, but like I said, these are just rumors and theories that I believe in. If Vanessa turns out to be a hero again, that's completely fine with me. Just don't quote me on what I said, but hey, we don't really know. I mean, I'm not the director, but we'll see what the director does when it comes to Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Now, I mean, to be honest, that's really quite it. Like I said, we don't have any trailers, teaser trailers, or a lot of information about what the movie will be about. All we know is that we're going to have the returning characters of Mike, Abby, Vanessa, and of course, William Afton. And we'll be having the toy animatronics possibly as the newer animatronics for FNAF 2. And if the puppet does make its appearance in the movie, I believe that the puppet may actually be Garrett trapped inside the animatronic body. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Like I said, we don't really have a lot of information, but this is the information that I could get. And these are just my theories about what I believe the movie is going to be about. Again, sorry for not having a face cam, but I will try to get my face cam to work again so you guys can see my face. I know you probably miss it. Like and subscribe on the channel called Flacco and Friends, and make sure to follow me on Flacco's for More Podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. May God bless. I'll see you guys for more Flacco's Fun World Podcasts.